following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the first show of September 2023, and already you can feel fall in the air. It's been a very warm and clammy summer. Right now, outside our studios, it's 85 degrees. That is hot for this time of year. Mind you, it's been very hot throughout the summer. And welcome to first show of the fall season, I guess. Tomorrow, parents around every province of Canada will be smiling. They'll be dancing. They'll be so happy. Why? Because kids go back to school tomorrow. I remember those days. Man, what was that song by... it was a Christmas song that I believe it was Staples that incorporated it into a commercial for going back to school. Andy Williams, The Most Wonderful Time of the Year. And thinking about those days, I can certainly understand why. Crazy school product prices. We were at Walmart 2 days ago in Fort Erie, and for 100 sheets of lined paper that go into your binder, are you ready for this, Exo Nation? $5.97 Canadian. $5.97 for 100 sheets of paper. I don't know how parents are doing it these days. God bless you all, and to all the teachers out there who decided not to go on strike. Enjoy your year. We're coming to you on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X-Zone Broadcast Network, and of course on Channel 32. On Simul TV. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, where we search for answers, but you know what? We demand the truth. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com and on all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. My guest this hour is a gentleman I've had the pleasure of having on the show a number of times. He is all the way in Sydney, Nova Scotia. I'm talking about Elliott Van Dusen. And Elliott, welcome back to the X Zone. Great having you with us, my friend.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate being back.
You've got an event coming up in the very near future that we're going to like to talk to you about. But first of all, for the listeners and viewers who haven't had the opportunity of knowing who you are and how you got into the world of the paranormal and parapsychology, give us a few minutes of who Elliott Van Dusen is.
Yeah, sure. So I've been investigating the paranormal now for 26 years. I started when I was in my early teens. Mm-hmm. I always credit the show Unsolved Mysteries to getting me into the paranormal because I knew one of two things. I knew that I wanted to be a police officer. And so I really liked Unsolved Mysteries because it talked about, cold cases. And that was kind of my passion, was homicide investigations.
And not to mention that Robert Stack from The Untouchables was the host of the series.
Oh, yes. Yeah. He was a classic. I remember watching the show in the basement with the lights out and the music would scare you. And no, it was great. And then every once in a while they'd show like, a ghost story or a UFO story. I thought that was really interesting. And then around 1997, I discovered the X-Files, which had been on TV since 1993. And I thought it was really cool. You had two law enforcement officers investigating the supernatural. And then I ended up getting recruited by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, our federal police force here in Canada. I did 15 years service with them. I spent 8 of them on major crime unit, which does entail homicide. So I made my boyhood dream come true. And in the meantime, I had continued with the paranormal. I took some online courses and kept up on the research and all the literature in the field. I didn't kind of do public things while I was with the RCMP. Kind of ran into some ridicule, I guess, for my passion for the paranormal while I was a police officer. But then towards the end, when I knew I was getting ready to retire, I came back out, started doing public appearances again. I'm the corporate director of Paranormal Phenomena Research and Investigation. We're a nonprofit organization registered in Nova Scotia, across Canada, and in the state of Massachusetts, because we service New England and Atlantic Canada. We do investigations, research, and educational events for the public, all for free. And we do have a big event coming up this October 7th, Saturday.
All right, tell us about this big event. That it's going to be in Halifax or in Sydney?
This one's going to be in Halifax. It's called the Halifax Paranormal Symposium. It's going to be on Saturday, October 7th, which is our Thanksgiving long weekend up here in Canada. We're going to have 5 guest speakers. 2 of them are international. One is Dr. Richard Gallagher, Columbia University psychiatrist that believes in demonic possession and has helped the church out on multiple occasions with assessing people for mental illness and ruling out mental illness, and then the church would continue to pursue an exorcism. Very lucky to have Lauren Coleman, who's an internationally recognized cryptozoologist. So we're going to do a presentation specifically on creatures that have been reported in Nova Scotia. Even through my investigation, we've had reports of a sea monster in St. Margaret's Bay. There has been reports of Bigfoot in the province. Lots of black cats or panthers have been reported. So I'll be really interested to see Lauren's presentation. Then we've got Dr. Darrell Walsh. He's a parapsychologist, a colleague of mine. He's going to talk about Are Ghosts Extinct? He's going to kind of talk about how, we used to see the old-fashioned apparition in the white wedding dress, and now today it's all about ghost apps and technology and things like that. So he's going to kind of bring us into the modern world. Then we got Kim Moser. She is a host and producer on Eastlink's TV show called Haunted. She's going to do a presentation called A Paranormal Awakening, and she's very sensitive. I would probably say she has mediumistic tendencies. So she is going to be a really fascinating speaker. And then our last but not least guest speaker is Chris Stiles. He's been on some podcasts recently. He's got a new book out called Clear Sweep 5, and that's what he's going to talk about. It was a NATO exercise done off the coast of Shelburne. It kind of ties into the Shag Harbor story a little bit, because the second part of the Shag Harbor UFO crash from October of 1967 always talks about once the law enforcement and Coast Guard lost track of the UFO underwater. The second part of the story kind of says that it traveled up to the coast towards Shelburne, where a second disc came down, helped it repair itself, and then they took off out of the water. Chris and Don Ledger, that did all the research for Shag Harbor, couldn't really find any documents on that. But Chris always had that red herring, and he managed to find out the story behind it. And it actually happened 7 years before Shag Harbor in Shelburne. It was a completely separate incident. It did involve 2 UFOs that were submerged underwater. The Canadian Navy and the Canadian divers that he interviewed claimed that they saw extraterrestrials repairing the ship, and that there's video footage of it. So, of course, Chris is a bulldog. He's trying to track down that video footage from the government. Whether or not he'll get it or not, that'll be another story.
Why do you think throughout the years the phenomena of the paranormal has lived through so many different phases of the investigative techniques and technology available, and yet no physical evidence?
Very, very little evidence for sure. I actually find it's getting less and less now with technology. Yes, just because now with all the videos out there, like I used to do a presentation. I have one coming up actually September 8th here in Sydney, called Hauntings, Exploring Apparitions, Poltergeist, Demons. And I used to show a photo of my niece and nephew, and the only thing that was real in the photo was them in the clothes they were wearing. Everything else was fake. The dock that they were sitting on was fake. The water in front of them was fake. The reflection in the water was fake, but it looked real. And now with AI, you can generate that kind of stuff, within seconds. Same with photographs and things like that. So I find the evidence coming forward today, especially from, your local paranormal investigator groups, seem to be like electronic voice phenomena coming from apps, which I am highly suspect of for how they function. And it's actually kind of interesting. We have a electronic voice phenomena specialist with my team. He's an audio engineer, and he is currently working with a Canadian university right now on after-death communication. And they're actually looking at these apps to see kind of what makes them tick. So I'll be very interested to see what kind of work they come up with.
How haunted is Nova Scotia?
Oh, Nova Scotia's definitely got a very haunted reputation. There's just so many spots downtown Halifax. The big event that happened there was the Halifax explosion, of course, that caused mass chaos and devastation downtown. So there was a lot of different places that housed bodies from the Halifax explosion. The Five Fishermen restaurant is very popular downtown Halifax. It's an excellent higher end restaurant that used to be Snow's funeral home. And that building has housed bodies not only from Halifax explosion, but also from the Titanic. So that restaurant's very haunted. Just right across the road from there is St. Paul's Church. And St. Paul's Church is famous for the window that every time they keep replacing it, the figure of a pastor keeps reappearing in this window. And the church had commented on it, saying that the only thing that they could say is that the resemblance in the window does appear to look like the pastor that had died in the Halifax explosion. So all kinds of different sites to check out. And some of them are cool too, like the Maritime Museum of Atlantic, which is cool within itself, but that houses a couple of different ghosts there. One is from the Samborough Lighthouse. It was a lightkeeper that had gone into town, spent all the military's money on booze, came back, didn't have a good time when he got back because nobody was too happy with him. And apparently his soul kind of stayed with the lighthouse. And then when they moved the lamp from the lighthouse into the museum, his spirit apparently followed it there. So
strange, to say the very least. Yeah,
lots of strange stories. It's definitely a great place to be a paranormal investigator for sure.
Stand by, Elliott. You and I have to take our first break. Exonation. Elliott Van Dusen is our special guest. www.ppri.net. And we're going to be continuing talking about the symposium that comes up in October, which date? The October 4th? 7th.
October 7th. Yeah.
October 7th. And for more information, you can contact Elliott at www.ppri.net. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Elliott Van Dusen and I return on the other side of this break. Don't go away. Elliott Van Dusen is our special guest. He is the coordinator and the gentleman behind the Halifax Paranormal Symposium, October 7th in Halifax, Nova Scotia. If you'd like more information, visit his website at ppri.net or visit his Facebook page, Elliott.Van Dusen, on Facebook. Elliott, when investigating the paranormal, where do you start? For example, somebody contacts you or your organization and they say, Elliott, I think there's some paranormal activity happening in my house. I'd like you and the members of the PPRI to come to the house and do an investigation. Where do you go from that point?
Well, we just recently actually had a case very similar to that. We got an inquiry through a website called bark.com. Apparently, it's a website where if you're looking to hire a professional, you can kind of go there and type in whatever you're looking for. Mm-hmm. So the odd time we get one of people looking for paranormal investigators. And we had an inquiry come in saying that this family in East Hants County here in Nova Scotia was experiencing some poltergeist activity. And that's all kind of that the detail said. So of course I got the contact information, called and spoke to the couple. It's a married couple, man and woman, that live in the house. And they said that basically on July 28th, they had a bunch of people over and they went into the house and they found a bunch of items, just regular household items like a hairbrush, like a bottle of deodorant, a couple beer cans that were still full, that were in a box, all kind of laid out on the floor. And it happened 4 or 5 times that night. And at first they were thinking, oh, well, maybe, maybe it was one of our friends pranking us or
Hmm.
whatnot. But it continued to happen again on the 29th and on July 30th and July 31st. And I think it was August 1st is when finally the wife got fed up with this, because it had only been her and her husband there and they weren't doing it to each other. So she called her daughter out west, and her daughter got in touch with us. So I phoned them up, took their statement through audio. I prefer doing it in person, but because of the distance, I was located in Sydney. They're about 5 hours away, up towards the Halifax area. So I did it by phone. Couple seemed, genuine. uh we do our screening to check and make sure it's not mental health issues. Both of us former police officers, that is common for people to have mental health issues
Hmm.
and start talking about strange things. But there was no worries about that, no medical issues that we were concerned about. So I told them to document the dates and the times on when anything else happened, and I would try and get a team together to go and investigate. So they did, and things continued to happen, but it's very sporadically, maybe once every 3-4 days. So she would send me the pictures, the dates, the times. Um, we ended up going out on Saturday, August 26th, to their house. We went there from 2 p.m. until 11 p.m. Tried to do as many things that they did to simulate the environment. We started off by getting your base reading of
Hmm.
electromagnetic field radiation, which was fine. Sometimes we go into the homes, and when we do that check, we find unshielded wires and things like that that can cause people to hallucinate. But all their wiring was fine. The temperatures were fine. There was no. We also purchased a gas detector last year, because there's been a couple of parapsychological studies that have come out. Two in specifically, that carbon monoxide can cause people to experience haunting characteristics as well. One was by a faulty hot water tank that had been installed. So of course we brought the gas detector. Everything
Sure.
was good there, and we also got a Geiger counter. But I didn't expect there to be any nuclear radiation or anything like that there. But we did do that check. So all the environmental features checked out. Um, Turned the power off to the residents to make sure that there was no interference. Sat outside on their deck. They had a very nice, large enclosed deck, and got to talk to them. We had a medium come for the first time. I had heard lots of good things about her, but had never worked with her before. So the family was open to us having a medium come in. And that was probably the most fascinating thing, because throughout the course of the night, nothing paranormal happened that we witnessed. We didn't see anything. We had cameras set up. No items appeared at a place, nothing like that. All the base environmental readings stayed the same. But the medium, I was quite impressed. So when she first showed up to the scene, immediately she felt like a pain in her heart and numbness in her left arm. It turned out that the husband of the house thinks that it was his dad's spirit that was putting all these items out, trying to, play a joke. He was kind of like a practical jokester, I guess, back in his day. So, so she detects that, and then while she's looking around in the garage, she found an item that she felt was connected to this male spirit in the house. Turned out later, once we asked the homeowner, is that the tape measure that she was holding actually was his dad's tape measure. Then when she was in the house, in the lobby area, she started to kind of feel like she was on water, or she was uh, unbalanced, and she said that she was having trouble standing on her left leg. We found out later that his mother had had her left leg amputated, and she
Ooh.
passed away in February of this year.
Hmm.
And she also went outside, and she had no details about this case at all. I should mention that at all. All she knew was where to show up and what time. So while she was outside and away from us talking, the homeowner said, "Oh, I forgot to mention something to you that happened last week. I was playing crib with a friend." And we went to take a break. We put our cards down, went inside, grabbed a drink, came back outside, and I was missing a card. I was missing the seven of spades. And we looked everywhere, like couldn't find it, checked underneath the deck, checked the yard, everywhere, just this card just gone. They still haven't found it to this day. So one of my investigators handed the deck of cards to Jody, our medium, when she came in, and she felt it, and she could tell. She said, "Oh, I don't like these cards. They're very busy." And I looked at them, and they were recycled cards from Casino Nova Scotia. So I would imagine, quite a few people touched them before they circulated them out. But then Pierre asked her specifically, "Do any cards or card come to mind?" And she said she could see the 6 and the 8 of spade. And ironically, it was the 7 of spade, the one right in between, that was missing.
Unreal.
She had no idea about like these cards or why. She actually asked Pierre, like, "Why are you asking me about these cards?" And he was just joking around saying, "Oh, I like to cheat at cards and blah, blah, blah."
Mhm.
But she ended up picking, in between the missing card. So later on in the night, when we weren't getting any activity at all, we decided to try and do some electronic voice phenomena with the audio recorders, and kind of held like a mini seance. And Jody was able to connect with the male spirit, who we didn't know his name because the wife and the husband didn't tell us what his dad's name was. And she kept hearing a P sound. She said it sounded like p. So she said, "Is his name Peter?" And he said no, but he had a friend named Peter. And then she picked up the tape measure because we took 2 personal items. We took a rosary that used to be his mother's, and we took the tape measure that used to be his. And when she picked up the tape measure, she said, "No, his name's Paul." And apparently his name was Paul. Yeah, so we did a session for about a half hour, and both Jody and she told us the spirit was getting tired. So after a half hour, we shut it down for about 45 minutes and took a little break. But Jody had started to talk to him about why he was still here. He basically said that he took a major heart attack in 1991 while he was in the Dominican Republic, which is what the home owner had told us. His dad died down there, and he felt like he had more to live for. So he chose to stay around, and he's been watching like his kids grow up and stuff, and he was waiting for his wife. But he said when his wife died in February, she was gone, and in Jody's mind, she could see him do this. And he said that his wife was just gone like that. So when she passed, she obviously made the choice to cross over. And so now he was very frustrated that he was kind of like, stuck on this plane, but he was scared that if he left, he wouldn't be able to watch his kids. So Jody kind of did a bit of spiritual counseling with him and all of us in the room. And after the 45 minutes, we, reestablished a contact with him, and he said he was ready to go. He believed Jody that if, he crossed over, he'd still kind of be able to check in on his kids kind of thing. And she got really emotional, and, she had tears coming down her face. And I could tell it affected the family too. Like Blair really wanted his dad to move on. And so it was very, very interesting, even though all the medium information I would call subjective. Very subjective. The only other thing that was kind of interesting is Jody felt like she was freezing while we were doing this seance. And in fact, I had the FLIR camera, the forward infrared looking camera, and her body temperature actually increased by 2 degrees, which I took pictures of. But it was really interesting. She felt like she was absolutely freezing, but she was actually getting hotter.
I've never heard of a spirit getting tired before. Is this common?
Yes, I would say it is. I believe it's the energy to communicate. We tried to get it to flash a light on a flashlight or a headlamp. Actually, no flicker whatsoever happened.
No.
I brought out the Spirit Box SB11, which I'm not a fan of, but I have seen some videos where people have claimed to get evidence of a spirit communicating through it. So I put it on settings where it would be very hard to just pick up radio interference. So I did the reverse and the forward. We did 200 for both AM and PM. And now my hearing is not the best from law enforcement. So there were a few times where questions were asked and the group thought that they had heard a yes come through there. But we still have hours of audio to go through. So right now my EVP specialist is going through all our audio and things like that. So I'm not sure what's caught on audio. The photographs, I did have my professional photographer go through the photographs. He got excited at one point. We had a Zoom meeting about it because he thought he might have captured something. And upon further scrutiny of it, what we realized it was the homeowner had exited the room just at the time I had snapped the photograph, because you could see like a male figure wearing blue jeans. You couldn't see the feet, so it was just like blue jeans, and it was transparent, and then kind of like a blue checkered shirt, and you couldn't see the face. You could just kind of see the torso and the legs. So my professional photographer, Mike Shaw, he got really excited, but upon looking at it and going through notes and things like that, I realized that it was just the homeowner coming through the doorway when I snapped the photo. And that made sense to Mike, because when he checked how long the light was absorbed by the camera, it was only 0.6 of a second. So I didn't have it in sport mode or anything like that. So that's why the photograph turned out like that. But very interesting case. And like I said,
sounds like.
The medium stuff was probably the most interesting, even though I am aware, as a scientist, that is very subjective, because it's all based on basically somebody's opinion. But I mean, we were able to corroborate, what we could.
How long did the investigation take from start to finish? Like, you're still not finished it, I would imagine, because you still have to go through some EVP recordings. But up to date, what do you figure?
I would say... Oh, geez. I would say we've probably put in at least 36 hours, I would say, so far, between, doing the initial interviews, traveling, going out and doing or all the pre-planning as well. We did some research. I tried to find poltergeist cases in the literature where a poltergeist or a ghost would organize things very neatly. I couldn't find any cases similar to this. The one interesting thing, though, is I consulted with the Rhine research team that I sit on. There's about 53 or 54 experts of us that sit on this Rhine research panel. And there are apparently some cats and dogs, that can systematically organize things. They were telling us that there was a dog that would systematically organize books and things like that. So, and they did have a dog. They didn't have a cat, but they did have a dog. But once I sent them the photos of the scene, which is important, why you should collect as much evidence that you can, they realized that the dog couldn't have put those particular items in that particular organization. And it was specifically a photo of CDs. There was about 10 CDs that were all laid out, and they were very, very organized. I think it went like 5 and then 4 and then 1, and almost like a pyramid. And a dog just couldn't do that.
Fascinating stuff, Elliott. Please stand by. You and I have to take our break at the bottom. Exonation, Elliott Van Dusen is our special guest. We're talking about the paranormal in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Sydney, Nova Scotia, and throughout the entire province of Nova Scotia, as a matter of fact. Elliott is the gentleman behind the 2023 Halifax Paranormal Symposium that will be in Halifax, Nova Scotia on October the 7th. And if you'd like more information about it, please visit his website at ppri.net, and on Facebook, facebook.com/Elliott Van Dusen. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Elliott and I return after this short break. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. Elliott Van Dusen is our special guest. We're talking about the 2023 Halifax Paranormal Symposium that's going to be held in Halifax, Nova Scotia on October the 7th. That's our gobble weekend up here in Canada, isn't it?
It is. It's going to be a great event. There hasn't been anything in Nova Scotia like this for quite a while. They used to do an East Coast Paracon down in Liverpool on the South Shore. They do the Shag Harbor Expo every year, but that's specific to UFOs. Actually, one year they were short, and they called me up, and I went down and did a ghost lecture at a UFO conference. But people enjoyed it anyway. So I wanted to kind of bring this back. We actually tried to have this done before COVID hit. We started planning it in 2018, hoping to have it, in 2019, but we had to delay it for the next year, and then COVID hit, so we delayed it, for at least 2 years. And then we've been planning this now for the past year. It's definitely taken up most of my time because I'm still trying to write my fourth book, which is called Hauntings and Homicides. It's going to be about haunted sites where homicides have occurred because of my homicide background and my parapsychology background. So I've started it, and I've gotten some stories written, but this has been taking up most of my time. Plus running, my nonprofit organization, and we're actually busy with kind of a side project as well. Not much happening until the new year, but we're going to create the International Association of Paranormal Investigators and Law Enforcement Officers. So we're kind of in the process of, creating that as well. So there's always something to do. But this conference, I think, will be good. I checked with the Parapsychological Association. They held one in Halifax back in, I think it was 2007, but they said it was one of their most poorly attended events. But that is a highly academic event. And I knew that if we held a highly academic event in Nova Scotia, that it might not have the interest of most of the general public. So we kind of wanted to go somewhere in between, where it's going to be very educational, and everyone speaking there, is an expert in their field, but it's also going to be entertaining because, they're really cool stories. Like, everyone's fascinated by demons and demonic possessions and UFOs and aliens and ghosts. So I think people are going to have a great time there.
Something for everyone.
There is definitely going to be something for everyone. There's some vendors as well. There's going to be, PPRI, my organization, and Ghost Project Canada are going to have a table there. Local author Steve Vernon's going to have a table there. The new TV series that's being filmed called Maritime Mysteries, I think. I might have got that wrong. They're going to have a table there. And then I got some great prizes. So anybody that buys a ticket to the symposium, your ticket or your name will automatically be entered into a raffle. And some of the prizes we have is we have a free reading from Joanne Gerber, who's a certified psychic medium down in the New England area. She was tested by the Windbridge Research Center. We have Laura Warren, who donated a free psychic reading as well. She was just on the TV show Sightseers, and with my colleague Daryl Walsh. So that was great. I have a couple of books that were donated to us too. One from Brian Baker, a journalist in Ontario, and another one from the Haunted Walk there in Ontario to give away. I'm going to give away a copy of each of my books, Evil in Exeter, Supernatural Encounters, True Paranormal Accounts from Law Enforcement, and More Supernatural Encounters from Law Enforcement. So lots of prizes, vendors, guest speakers. I think it's going to be a good time. Where's the venue for the event? It's going to be at the fairly new Halifax Tower Hotel and Conference Center, which is in Bayers Lake. They had just built it when we signed the contract to do the symposium there. So it would be about 2 years old now, but great venue, good location as well. Bayers Lake has a bunch of chain restaurants and shopping and things like that. It's 20 minutes from the Halifax International Airport. So very, very good location. Tell me, what, if any, has been the case that you have worked on where the hair on the back of your neck stood up and you said, oh my God, something is here? It's definitely the Exeter case, which I've talked about a lot on all the podcasts. It was a house, a fairly new house that had nothing to do with the location or where the house was built. I believe it had to do with the people. And I always say that not just locations can be haunted, but people and objects can be haunted as well. I witnessed, I could hear footsteps approaching me very clearly. I saw doors open and close on their own. I saw locks lock and unlock on their own. I saw a doorknob turn 3/4 of the way when there was only myself on that second level. And when I opened the door, as it was still turning, there was nobody there. We experienced temperature drops, but the equipment didn't pick that up, which is not uncommon. Sometimes people experience the temperature drops or a temperature rise, and the equipment doesn't pick it up. There was fire alarms that would go off for no reason and would only turn off when you splashed it with holy water. the kids wouldn't sleep for days on end, claiming that they could hear something scratching inside their walls. And of course, we checked, make sure there's no rodents, make sure the tree branches aren't outside scratching the window. A lot of people say that it's funny, they kind of know, like once I start telling them about how we do our investigations, they say you always look for like natural explanations first, and that's just it. Like, as a police officer as well, you're very critical of what you're dealing with or what you're told with, because contrary to popular belief, people like to lie to the police. So so of course we do our due diligence, so we dig around, right? So it's the same on an investigation. I only think that my law enforcement experience has made me a better parapsychological investigator for sure.
Where do you see the science of investigating the paranormal in the next 5 years?
Right now, I'm seeing a trend. There's a lot of work being done by Dr. James Horan and his colleague Brian Lathy, and they're working on a lot of environmental theories, that things like low lighting and being primed for a situation, or having awareness and paranormal belief. If you're a believer, you tend to experience more paranormal phenomena than a non-believer. I think a lot of the research is going that way. As far as the field investigations right now, I find that it has slowed down significantly since all the TV ghost shows have come out, because everybody wants to be a paranormal investigator. Even for the Halifax Paranormal Symposium, I reached out to all the groups that I could find online that had a website or that were on Facebook, because some people don't have websites now, it's just Facebook pages. And I think there was at least a dozen different teams in Nova Scotia that I could find. Now, we're not one of those organizations that says, okay, guys, it's Friday night, let's go out to the graveyard, or let's call up our local museum and go hang out in the museum. We're more of a reactive organization, because we do so much in education and things like that. So when we get a call like we did back on August 26th or August 1st, I guess the call came in, it's because we're like a reactive organization kind of thing. Now, if one of my investigators has a really cool site that they want to check out, for example, Pierre came to me recently with a possible admiral's house at the Stadacona base in Halifax, the old military base, and Pierre is retired Navy. That place sounds really, really interesting to me. There was a lot of death that happened there. Yellow fever had gone through there at one point, and I believe a servant had fallen down the stairs and died at the house. So a lot of history, a lot of traumatic history involved, and it sounds like a promising kind of location to check out. If we have nothing on the go, sure, it gets us out and gets us using the equipment and kind of gets some practice in. And you never know what you're going to see. Like I said, last investigation, I was mostly impressed with the medium rather than anything else.
Time has come when you and I must say so long for tonight. First of all, Elliott, thank you so much for all the great work you do, and thank you for your service as a member of our federal police force. You guys do a great job. Any last words of wisdom for the X-Zone Nation? And of course, give us some more information about your symposium that is on October the 7th in Halifax.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to our website, ppri.net, and click the link, the events link on our website, it'll take you to the Halifax Paranormal Symposium kind of website we have set up. ppri.net/tickets is where you can get your tickets. There's still a limited number of tickets available. We expect sales to start picking up here as the fall continues. We've already pre-sold quite a bit, so we were happy with that. So I would expect now, with the fall weather coming and school back in and people looking to do spooky stuff, that the ticket sales will ramp up here. So grab your ticket now if you're kind of holding on or thinking about getting it. And our website is basically the main place to get in touch with us. There's a contact us form, and even if you have a question about the paranormal, feel free to contact us. Sometimes we just answer questions for people. That's Elliott, what we're there for.
Elliott, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to the next time you and I meet, either here or who knows where else. But continued success and good luck with the symposium.
All right, thanks a lot, Rob. Appreciate being back on your show.
Take care, my friend. X-Zone Nation, we'll be back on the other side of this break as the X-Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada.